All right, so I don't know anyone here. I know Dave, and I'm learning more about Dave now that I'm here. So I had a terrible time getting here. I was late for dinner and everything, but I'm glad I'm able to join this group because this is going to be great, and I'm going to learn a ton. So, the bolt production system. So, Dave mentioned we started our lean journey about 16 years ago, and I started with bolt about 16 years ago, right around that time. So I was at the beginning stages, and I was on one of the pilot projects when we started this whole journey. So when we were back 16 years ago, we had a challenge. We were looking for ways to pour concrete faster, erect steel better, a lot of efficiency stuff, and we were looking for ways of doing that. And then we came across the Lean Construction Institute and started to learn a lot about lean. And one of the first tools that they taught us was the last planner system. So the last planner system was aimed at getting stability within a project. So reliable promises, getting people to commit to things and reliably promise to each other, and stabilize the system, try to create a better flow on the project. So we learned a lot of stuff by implementing that on a lot of projects over the years. And about a year ago, people like Dave and others in our company saw that there were certain teams and certain projects that were implementing it at a deeper level and having a lot of great results from it. And so over the last year, we've tried to capture a lot of those best practices and kind of restructured some of the ways we do things. And we call it the bolt production system now, and we're implementing that across our whole company. So it basically starts at a high level of scheduling down into the daily huddle level at the project execution level. And then we also measure on a daily and on a weekly basis how reliable we are to ourselves on a planning level. So we have our commitments. We measure that. We call it our PPC, our percent plan complete, because we believe if people are reliably promising to each other, that's going to create flow on the project and take waste out of everyone's days. We focus a lot of our efforts on trying to identify constraints, so things that are standing in people's way from creating that flow. And so we have a lot of different discussions and meetings in the daily huddles, through the weekly meetings, through the look ahead plans, to really capture and look ahead to see what's going to stand in people's way. One of the biggest things that we do to do this is we use the last planner. So the last planner system, it means the last planner means the person closest to the work is doing the planning, doing the control of the project, creating the plan, and improving the plan. So we use the people in the field, these guys that are doing the work, pouring the concrete, putting the steel up. It's the lead people that are getting their hands dirty that are in these meetings planning. And this is one of our superintendents right here at his I think a daily huddle board. A daily huddle with his guys that he's going through. What's going to happen? How do we do yesterday? Did we win yesterday? Did we get everything done? How are we doing today? Are we going to get our stuff done today? And what is the plan for today? Does anyone have any problems in their way? Is anything bugging them? So can we help you with that? Right? We've all heard that in this group, I think. So that's a big part of it. Using the trades, the contractors in these meetings to create the flow too, because so every one of our projects is a new business basically. So it's not like we're one business and we're trying to implement this on one business. It's the same people day in and day out. Every project, and we have, hundreds of projects across the nation here, and everyone's a different culture. We're trying to create a common culture, but everyone is starting off from ground zero with a new group of people, a new paradigm of how they do their work, and we're trying to implement these types of concepts and these types of processes on those projects. So really the purpose of this whole bolt production system is to create a predictable and streamlined workflow, simple structured processes, again making it simple. And we get jokes all the time that we should all have stock in 3M. You guys are probably familiar with that. Yeah. We should, because we go through a lot of them. Yeah. So simple structured, problem surface. So a lot of what we talk about in Lean is really about everything. Looking ahead to constraints I mentioned, everything we try to do is to try to find problems sooner. Those problems are going to come up at some point. We don't want them to come up the day we're trying to do the work. So if we can find that problem 2 days ahead, a month ahead, 6 months ahead, that's what Lean is about for us, is to find those problems early, and we're trying to structure our processes to be able to figure out how can we find those problems sooner so it doesn't affect the rest of the work. Continuous improvement, again, I'll talk about the Bambino process as one small...
And Nick, I'm just going to interrupt you. So
Yeah.
the main way you do that is through the last planner system, by getting the people who are doing the work to help plan that, because they have the best insight to determine whether those problems are going to be.
Right, and there's certain processes we use to try to batch the work in small batches, so it'll show, the problems will surface a lot quicker, instead of saying, go do a whole floor, and then the next guy come in and do the next floor. We'll take the floors and break them down into smaller sections of batches.
Kind of see what happens.
So a single piece flow idea, basically, and we're able to test that early in the process to learn really quickly, and then we can fix those problems, and then through the rest of the building they can get those out of their way. So that's a big part of what we try to do in our strategies. So, and at the core of that obviously is to eliminate the waste in our processes. So simple rules that we have: we align the trades with the project flow, like I just described. We promote balanced crews. So our goal is to try to get, if we have a 10-man crew for the mechanical contractor, our goal is that the same 10-man crew can learn from each other and on the first floor work his way up to the 10th floor. And we try to structure our plan so that the resources are similar throughout the building, so we're not getting all new guys out of the union halls or wherever they're coming from they could, you know, create a culture that we don't want, and then also they can't learn from what they've already done, because if we need 20 guys up here and we only need 10 guys down here, well, all of a sudden we got 10 guys that don't know what they're doing on the first day, and we want that 10 guys to go all the way through and learn from the bottom all the way up to the top of the building.
So it's really about leveling our workflow and trying to get, Nick and some of the guys use a methodology where we take tack time to set the rhythm as we work through the building. And if any of you read the book The Goal, right, by thank you, Goldratt. Yeah, never get his name right. So that's all about identifying the bottlenecks and setting the pace of the production to that bottleneck first, and then improving the bottleneck.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So making reliable promises, visual controls, measure and learn. I mentioned how we measure it on a weekly basis at a minimum of how reliable we are to each other, how much stuff are we getting done that we say we're going to get done. Our goal is to get 100% reliable. The industry average is 54%, so our target condition is 100%. The current state of the industry is around 50-ish%. So we aim to get between 80, 90, 90%, and if we're measuring at around 80 to 90%, we know we're a pretty highly effective team, and we're promising well with each other. The other part of the tracking we do is that when we don't hit a promise, we ask why. We ask why 5 times. We try to get to the root cause, right? So that we can trend those things and figure out where do we really have our problems here, so we can focus our attention on the right problems and not just every single thing that comes up every day, because there's always changing things on a construction project. And then we have teams that swarm the problems, so we can highlight them quickly and then we swarm to resolve them. So I'm going to change gears to the next topic of small wins. So we've also, over the last year, 2 years, really got into the small wins discussion. We have a lot of programs, the bolt production system being one of them, focused on continuous improvement, more project, longer term improvement type things, and culture setting type of things. But one of the things that we've really started focusing on too is these quick and easy continuous improvement ideas, and we typically call them small wins programs on our projects. And one of the ways that we've implemented this on one project that I was involved in, so Ohio State, for the Ohio State Buckeyes, they have the little Buckeyes on their helmets. When they do a good job, they get Buckeyes after the games. That's what they, So this idea kind of spurred from that, and this project happened to be in Ohio. So what we did is we created this, we call this little guy here from Akron Children's Hospital, this is the Bambino. So it was our Bambino program. We created these little stickers. You can see the guy putting it on his hard hat right here. And basically any day it could happen, but we had a meeting once a week in the field to talk about safety and other things. But we had guys from the field. This is one of our concrete superintendents. Simple board, from to. He'd put his name on there, Joe, and he would give it to Matt. And then we'd ask him, okay, so why are you giving this guy a Bambino? And he would say, well, the guy really went out of his way to help me solve this problem yesterday. So he really deserves, an attaboy, a Bambino. And then everyone would clap, and that was it, basically. So it was a simple way to recognize people, and the guys in the field loved it. It didn't cost any money, but they took that recognition and the stickers on their hard hats, because stickers on hard hats for construction guys mean something. And we found that out through experimentation, and they loved getting those things. And we would track, in the different categories, cost, safety, quality, of how many Bambinos were given out on a weekly basis, and that was one of the metrics we kept on that project. So it promoted that culture.
And the other thing about the Bambino program is this is a children's hospital, right? So the guys are identifying with the mission,
Right.
not of just building, doing construction,
Right.
but of the purpose of the building and the mission
Right.
it was there to solve. So that's more about building that relationship between us and our ultimate client, because our ultimate client isn't just the administrator of the hospital, it's the kids and the families that actually are in those rooms, facing really life and death situations. So it tied the guys to that mission in a very emotional and very real way.